Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and it's been a little while since I talked about anything Doctor Who related on my channel once again, but I found these two stories that really compelled me to actually do a video about them recently that don't have to do with any of the stuff I've been avoiding, the Series 8 filming and spoiler and speculatory stuff. And the first was actually brought to my attention by my good friend on YouTube, Dr. Freedom, who did a video talking about this article posted by MoviePilot.com. I'll be linking his video down below. I highly recommend you check his channel out and subscribe to it. He is my go-to guy with Doctor Who news, and usually he's the first among anyone to clarify between, the rumorville stuff, what's BS, and what actually has some validity to it. So I'm going to be definitely checking up on his channel to find out if there is any truth behind this particular rumor. But the rumor is, via MoviePilot.com, that Paul McGann is being currently considered to reprise his role as the 8th Doctor in upcoming Doctor Who. Now, it remains to be seen, I think something like 3 episodes, whether this is going to apply to Series 8 or Series 9, more likely, probably. But of course, time will tell if there's even any validity to it at all to begin with. But I'm just bouncing off the walls at that. I mean, after The Night of the Doctor, the prequel to the 50th anniversary itself, I was absolutely just jumping for joy at the fact that Paul McGann reprised, very surprised that he did. I mean, I'm just absolutely excited and enamored with the idea that we could be seeing Paul McGann reprising his role as a sort of guest-starring secondary Doctor to Peter Capaldi's 12, tooling around time and space on a misadventure or 2, or 3, depending on how they do this, and that would be phenomenal. Now, it also falls in line with a speculation I had from some time ago now, where after The Night of the Doctor, I actually did speculate, and I don't remember if I said this in a video or if I posted it over on my Facebook, something along those lines. There was another actor whose name escapes me off the top of my head that was being rumored to portray the Master, coming back in Series 8 or Series 9, something along those lines, a villain in any case. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, how awesome would it be if Paul McGann were to come back into Doctor Who, but actually they threw a wrench in the works, and we're all expecting to see him reprising the 8th Doctor role, when in fact he's playing the Master. I mean, the Master, that would be the most adequate way for him to finally try to get back at the Doctor at this point in his tenure, to wear the Doctor's former guises and try to sully his good name, carry out malicious acts with the face of the Doctor. Imagine how compelling that would be. But of course, this is just my speculation on this particular story, which I think would be actually pretty cool to see Paul McGann playing the Master, but it would be even cooler, let's be honest, to have him reprising on screen for a little bit longer than he's gotten the Doctor. I would love to see the 8th Doctor again in action. But a similar story has actually cropped up on Doctor Who TV, which I'll also be linking below, to do with Tom Baker. He was interviewed recently and has professed that he would actually consider coming back to Doctor Who in some capacity were he asked, and certain things like the story or the part in question would actually be relatively good. He would actually actively consider coming back to Doctor Who. Would he reprise his role as the curator, as we saw on the 50th anniversary of the Day of the Doctor? Would he be the Doctor himself? Would he be the curator who we know is the Doctor? That kind of thing. I think, it would be just absolutely phenomenal to see either one of these two big guns, as I call them, from the classic series of Doctor Who, reprising their roles, coming back in any capacity. I mean, to be honest with you, I do want to see Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, Peter Davison. I want to see all the classic Doctors. I'd love to see them all strung along through several episodes and maybe culminating with them all in one big phenomenal series ender. But I think the biggest guns for me have always been Paul McGann, because he got so little screen time. And Tom Baker is a guy who really, for the longest time, kept his distance from Doctor Who. He didn't want to come back for the 5 Doctors, and for a very long time, there was almost nothing he was willing to even compromise on doing any dealings with Doctor Who. And so, at this point, we had the 50th anniversary where he made his appearance as the curator of the museum, who we know was the Doctor, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and a future Doctor, and anyway, who's revisiting his old faces. I love that concept. I love the aspect that, these classic Doctors are still potentially out there somewhere, completely unlike what we know they have looked like before, but still very much the same as well. And it just compels me and excites me. I'm bouncing off the walls. And I'm really excited about the fact that in this particular Doctor Who TV article, Tom Baker is talking about being a big fan of Peter Capaldi. And, if Capaldi, being that he is such a big Doctor Who fan, Tom Baker acknowledging that fact is phenomenal alone. But the idea that if, Capaldi were to ask him personally to come back, he'd definitely consider it. just really puts it through the roof. I love Tom Baker. I love what I'm hearing about Peter Capaldi. I bet you he is going to be a phenomenal Doctor, 12th Doctor as it were. And yeah, if nothing else, Tom Baker wants to blow up the BBC, as he says at the cap-off end of this particular article. If that's not something, I don't know what else is. So otherwise, that's pretty much all I have to say on these two topics. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what your reaction to it is. How excited would you be to see Paul McGann, Tom Baker, or any of the surviving classic Doctors in modern Doctor Who? I think, I can answer that pretty much well-to-do, that we would all be jumping off the walls. And yeah, otherwise, I hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.